G'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer, and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some very cool sailors. Of course, I have to do it with my two idiot mates, so that sort of brings it down for everyone. So let's bring in the first of them. Welcome, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
Good evening, everyone. That's it.
That's it. You're all flustered, BP. I could tell.
I'm all flustered. Last week you pulled me up straight out of the water onto the into the front of the microphone, and it's just been busy. And tonight, busy. But that's all right. I'll manage.
You're a good man. Well, let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
They've been listening, J-Dog.
To what?
They've been listening, and I guess there's certain rules about when you people put a job out in the job place, right? But it's come up. It's finally come up. The world's greatest coach. Australian Sailing is hiring, this time for the role of Queensland Academy of Sport Sailing head coach. Mm-hmm. Australian Sailing and Queensland Academy of Sport work in partnership to deliver the QAS State Sailing Performance Program, which aims to support emerging and developing athletes. Are you in or what? Surely it's a setup. They, after taking the piss out of Mike last week and a little bit out of Glenn from Australian Sailing, this is a setup.
A setup
for sure.
They want the super coach to apply. Look, there's no way they'll give me that job because they don't want Queensland winning everything.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
That's cool. I'm at a loss at the moment. I am sort of sniffing around. Good on Australian Sailing for trying to put a job out there for me.
Here. Yeah. If they want any references, probably not best to ask myself.
I'm feeling
sad. Of course, mate. I'll give a good word for it.
Yeah, thanks, bud. Hey, guys, it's been going gangbusters Bar Karate the last few weeks. We've been super busy. We are super excited. When people are listening to this episode through the week, we will actually be down at the bottlers getting our first cases. Canners. Actually getting the beer off the line. It's coming off the line this week. So as you're listening, at some stage this week, the beer is coming off the line. And it happens to be the brewery's just down, it's about an hour down the road from my place. So I'm going to be drinking the first beer.
Oh, so jealous. So jealous. And a quick shout out to Julian Newton, owner, helmsman of Game On. I saw him during the week, and he was basically telling me of his bar karate experience.
Oh, yeah?
Of Monday morning, he leaves for work, bar karate starts. Monday afternoon, drives home. By Wednesday afternoon, by the time he's got home, he's done with one episode. So, Julian, by the time you finish this episode, Jordan Spencer, within the next 12 hours, will be consuming a bar karate sailor's lager. Think of that.
Think of that, yeah.
That's good.
The only thing I'm worried about, it might be a bit warm as it comes off the line, but, sacrifices. Speaking of sacrifices, lads, we've got a guest this week. We're a little bit excited about this guest because we've watched her for a few years and we're pretty close to her. But one of the things that we believe in bar karate is just trying to show you the pathways to get there. And you've never seen someone more determined to get there and make it as a pro sailor, which she completely is nowadays. And like every other pro in the world at the moment, not making a cent in the sailing world. But genuine pro sailor, and we're very excited because she's done everything a person can do to make herself valuable, and we'd like to have a chat to her and just share her story with you. So welcome to the show, Emily Nagel.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm not bad. I'm stuck in the UK. Bit different from my summer in Oz, but getting on.
And what a summer it was.
Oh, it's bloody good.
So, Emily, normally at this time of year, you would be, or as a professional sailor, the Mediterranean is chock-a-block. But where are you currently situated right now, given the current circumstances?
I'm currently in a little spot called Waibita, or Weymouth. Yeah, not
bad, not bad.
Not quite the Mediterranean, but yeah, south coast of the UK. It's probably the spot to be in if you're in the UK, but yeah, it's not Palma.
It's not Palma. No, not the Bermuda too, which is your home turf as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely missing my little rock right now, but they're on a full lockdown. Pretty hard to get out there right now.
Wow.
Actually, just before we start talking more yachting, is to actually get out there, what you just cannot go, or it's a process, you need to go into quarantine? What's the story?
Yeah, so they shut the airport for a couple of months, like completely, no one in or out. It's open again, but yeah, you've got to quarantine when you get there. So, 2 weeks in a hotel in Bermuda, not cheap. So,
yeah.
Nice views though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, as things go, it's pretty sweet, but not quite in my budget.
But the lockdown in Weymouth, or Waibisa, as it's called, what's that entail? The pubs open, you're out sailing, hanging out with your roomies or your housemates?
Yeah, I mean, things have gone a lot better now. The first few months were fully strict, everything shut down, allowed out of the house once a day for exercise, and that was a slow process, just allowed out for running and cycling and no one on the water. But then since they must be June, things have started to open up again. We're allowed to go sailing. And there's even a bit of yachting that has started now. Not a huge amount, but you're allowed to socialise a small bit. Pubs are open, but you're meant to stay away from people that you don't live with. So it's been slow, but slowly.
So what are you trying to say? You're sick of the people you live with. You won't even go to the pub with them. No, of course not.
You know what you could do.
Like in trouble.
When you go to a keelback regatta, like here in Oz, everyone gets their little team shirts on and they only drink in their teams. You see that all the time. Like you could
performing bar karate. That's
my vision of Weymouth pubs at the moment. Everyone that lives in a house is getting team shirts and then just going to the pub and staying in their little group.
Yeah, and the more and more beers that I had, it's like, oh, you put way too much salt in that spaghetti bolagnese that we had. Yeah. And that's my stuff on the right-hand side of the fridge.
Yeah. Stop drinking my milk. All right, let's get on to Emily. Let's get on to the thing about you that's interesting I think for a lot of people is, nearly everyone that comes on the show, they've got a family that's into sailing. You never had that. You none of your family sail, do they? It's just you.
No, it's just me. Well, my brother and sister have learned a little bit, but they're not really into it. Parents, not at all.
Not at all. So how did you get involved? What made you go and actually go sailing? That's the first point that we're interested in.
Well, growing up in Bermuda, it's kind of hard to be away from the water. So I was always a swimmer when I was younger. And then we had like this little motorboat that would go out on the weekends to kind of little beaches on the islands. And our neighbour came out. He'd built an Optimist for his daughter. She wanted nothing to do with it. So he took me out in it for a little spin, and yeah, that was it.
Never looked back.
Got addicted straight away.
I find that interesting. You literally, you just fell in love with it straight away. Do you remember what you loved about it? Do you remember that at all?
Oh, it's just the freedom.
Oh, okay.
Just getting in and be able to go and do what you want, and just, I mean, it's hard not to love it when you're surrounded by turtles and beaches and just glamour conditions. So it was a pretty epic place to learn to sail. Not sure it would have been the same if I'd learned in the UK. We
had Lisa Darmanin on last week, and she said when she was that age, she was sailing around just generally speaking to the dolphins if she could and singing songs. Is that sort of how it started for you?
100%. Like, I was listening to Lisa's and I was like, yep, same here, but turtles.
There you go.
I love it.
So finding a familiar guest next week, we have to find someone who's got a different animal.
Yeah, another.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've sort of, one thing about you, so you found the love for sailing, you've decided you're going to do it, and you have not changed your mind ever since, have you? Like, you've been very determined to get to where you are. Like, you've just kept pushing and pushing and going further and further forward. It's quite incredible to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I did get distracted for a little bit, kind of through kind of like middle school and high school. I was always brought up that, you've got to have your real career, and sailing's a hobby. So I kept sailing the whole time, and I still wanted to race around the world, and like obsessed with watching the America's Cup and match racing and team racing. But I never really kind of even thought that professional sailing was even an option until kind of university. I was kind of brought up, you've got to go to uni, you got to study, get a degree, get a real job, and then, you do sailing for the enjoyment of sailing. And then kind of through uni, I was exposed to, the world of match racing and pro sailing, and starting to meet people that actually made it a career, and was like, this sounds a lot better than being in an office.
It sounds like you had...
And what...
Go on, boss.
Sorry, Jay. Just the actual pathway, though, Emily, going back to Royal Bermuda Yacht Club, and that first time you stepped in the Optimist, is there the pathway that you took? What's involved in Bermuda before you started uni?
Well, Bermuda doesn't have a huge amount of sailing really past the Optimist. So, and school-wise, you're pretty limited on your options. So I ended up going away to boarding school at 14 over in the UK. And that's probably where my sailing got a bit more serious. I did opties in Bermuda, but to put it simply, I was shit. I loved it, but I was not good. And then kind of went away to boarding school in the UK and got into RS Fevers, which aren't the raciest of boats, but got put with another girl and we just absolutely loved it, like singing our way around the race course, and we started to do pretty well. So kind of did that for a couple of years, coached by Niall Myant, who I think you boys know.
Yep.
Yeah, he was my first national squad coach.
Wow.
Back in the day.
Can talk. Greetings, Niall, by the way, if you're listening.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, and then from there kind of got into team racing. So that was just what you do at boarding school. And then continue that on into university, where it then kind of turned into everything from team racing, match racing, yachting, bit of fleet racing, just sailing, anything I could get my hands on.
Fantastic. And that and uni was Southampton, correct?
Yeah.
So basically you're on the Solent, or have exposure to the Solent pretty much every day, night, weekend, and there's plenty of boats to choose from as well.
Yeah, more or less, except because I focused on team racing, most of my time wasn't spent on the Solent. It was spent on this little puddle called Spinnaker, which is literally a puddle complete with like little swampy islands in the middle of it, in the middle of the New Forest, like not near the water at all. But that's where we did all our team racing.
Yeah, wow.
With one Sandy McKinnon hanging out in the background sailing around as well. That's another story, Emily will tell you a bit.
I think she's probably listening. Let's and obviously to continue the theme, you only go to Southampton for one particular thing, one university there. So let me guess what you did for your degree.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a boat focus.
Yeah.
Naval architecture. Well, they call it ship science. They thought that would attract more people in.
Ship science.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
I think, Emily, you've given us something.
Is that the new thing, or?
No, BICE. Nice.
How long had that been in place?
I know quite a lot of shippies who are been around for at least 20 years. So,
Yeah. So using that theme, we could call drinking Baccarati Sailor's Lager beer science.
Beer.
Totally.
Beer science.
Beer
The science of beer.
That's got to be
Exactly.
tax-deductible for sure.
Bit of beer science. No, so I mean that's important because you picked a place to go where you could actually pursue, as you said, naval architecture and engineering. So you've got this complete focus. You've gone through that whole youth at the teams racing, the match racing. Before we get to that though, look, when you started out and you were saying you were listening to the America's Cup and watching all this stuff, did you have a sounding board? Like, did somebody that you had, say you were in Bermuda, did you talk about it with anyone else, or is it just you making notes in a journal? Like, how did you have anyone that you could share or learn from?
Not really. I mean, we had like the Gold Cup come to Bermuda every year. So I grew up watching the likes of Jimmy Spittle and Ainsley and Russell Coots all coming out and racing. And that was just the highlight of every year the racing calendar, getting to see these world-class sailors competing. And, we were the little opti kids that would walk around like the race program and just get it autographed.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have anyone to kind of talk any of this stuff through with. Like family wasn't a sailing family, and even like the boarding school I went to, we had a sailing coach, but it's very much like club level stuff. Like didn't particularly have any kind of professional sailors to talk to. So a lot of the people I did talk to thought I was mental.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to sail around the world? That's nice. You're going to university.
Yeah.
So that was literally you from day one, or from when you started something, you wanted to sail around the world.
Yeah, I read Ellen MacArthur's book when I was probably 10.
Yeah.
Like just gone into sailing, and like one Christmas, like my mum and my grandma both got me the same book.
So
read it straight away.
You read it twice?
I've probably read it 5 times.
Oh, good.
I was obsessed. And yeah, I just, from then I knew that, I wanted to race around the world. And which the answer from my parents was, no, that's not happening. But, oops.
Clearly don't listen to your folks. When you're actually talking about your parents before it made it sound like they're quite mean to you, but we know Karen and Anthony pretty well. So big shout out to your folks.
We know them very well in the sense that you said, by the way, we'll look after your daughter while she's away on the Volvo ocean race. That's not knowing them, mate.
I felt paternal. I felt like we were looking after her, so I thought we might as well get some credit for it. We're keeping an eye out on it.
Nah, fair. No, you're right. And you're exactly right.
I mean, you don't really need to look after Emily. She's a wise young lass. So, so I just wanted to say good day to you folks because lovely couple. So then you sort of actually got the opportunity, but the first step for you, I guess, was the Youth America's Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that kind of all spiraled quite quickly. I was at university, and then, there was all this chat of, maybe Bermuda might end up hosting the America's Cup.
Yeah.
To which everyone was just like, that's never going to happen. Like, why would the Cup go to Bermuda? And then all of a sudden it was going, and they announced a Youth AC, and Bermuda did an open trials because, we only had optimists really for youth sailing. So most of the sailors in Bermuda are really small because they stayed in opties until they were 16, or the big ones like me kind of went off to boarding school and switched classes. So they decided they needed to kind of do an open trial to get in some people that weren't small.
I thought you were going to say the whole team were opti sailors, but I mean, I think Mustafa was on that team, wasn't he? Was our mate Mustafa?
Yeah, so Musty basically got involved in all of this through like this open trial because they're like, we need muscle, like we need to find some big people, but the only way we're going to do that is get other sports in. So they did like massive open trial. It was all done anonymously to begin with. So it didn't matter your gender, like who you were, what your background was. You went, you did a fitness trial. And from that, they selected like 50 kids, and then through different camps, we kept cutting it down until we finally had this team of 11 that trained together for a year leading up to the Cup. And Mustafa was one of those athletes that came in. I mean, you blokes have seen him. He's not a small little guy.
He's a specimen.
Yeah, good looking.
Mustafa.
Oh yeah. He hadn't had much sailing experience before. I mean, pretty much none. And I got to teach him how to sail in an Acro 17, so that was quite an experience.
There you go. There you go.
Big bloke trying to get under the boom.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was pretty handy.
That's good. And obviously you were, because you made the youth team. So, but did you go right through with that, or did you just abandon them halfway through to go to Softbank Japan?
Yeah. There might have been a little bit of an abandonment. No, I love training with the guys, but I started an internship with Softbank kind of in the September before the Cup, which started kind of, I'd say part-time, but it was full-time hours just on the weeks when we weren't training as a youth AC team. And it was March, just before the Cup. They got my boss at Softbank, Tyson, got in touch and was just like,
hang on,
we have a job for you if you want it for free.
Hang on.
Sorry. Those two
stop there.
words
No.
do not go together. Boss
everyone
and Tyson.
No, God damn. Yep. Oh.
We all know Tyson is this tiny little fella. Watched him grow
Shout
up.
out to Ty, spoke to him during the week. So
hello, Tyson, 12-year-old running around the CYC of Adelaide.
Anyway, continue.
But so the internship though, ship science, was that what they called it?
Wasn't quite how they looked at it, but it was, there's a lot of sweeping floors and things that weren't covered in my degree.
Oh, okay.
No, it was a great bunch of guys, and I learned a lot from them. Got to work in the design side. And
would have loved to have heard the phone call from Tyson. So we're looking for a ship scientist. Would you mind?
Aussie accent, looking for a ship scientist.
Yeah.
We heard you're the worst one.
I think they still think my degree is made up.
I want to see that on the next thing on the title of the America's Cup. It's like ship scientist.
Come on,
sorry,
you blokes.
sorry, Emily. Sorry. So, I mean, what did you get? Like, there was a good team. There was some great people on that team. Like, you must have learnt some amazing stuff. The chance to be so close to, some of the great sailors of the world.
It was incredible.
And
I was terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
how'd you go the first day walking in? Dino, Gero, the whole team, and you're like,
oh yeah.
Oh, what do I say?
I had no fucking clue what to say. I think one of the first things that happened was I was working with like the design team mostly, but at the end of the day, I'd kind of go and hang out with the boat builders and get involved with any little jobs. And one of the older boat builders, Roger, had been working on one of the foils that had cracked the day before. So he just had the Dremel out and was just going at this foil, just cutting it back, and just handed it to me and was just like, go at it. So I'm just there with the Dremel going back and forth on this 50 board. No idea what I'm doing.
Were you thinking maybe I should have been a dentist?
Not quite that. I was just thinking how cool it was. I was just like, oh, there's carbon dust everywhere. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. And Derek Sword walks in and is just like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? Do you know how much that board's worth? And I was stunned. I was pointing at Roger, just like, he told me to.
Wow.
Dremel in hand.
That's great. That's great. I mean, you're on the other side of the fence too. Like all the people were looking in, and all your friends were looking in, and you're sitting there and they're looking out. You know, it must have been. That's your first step to being one of the cool kids.
Oh, it was mad. Like going from university to that, where no one really expected to be able to get a job with a cup team. Like, while I was at university, a lot of, you talk to your mentors and your tutors about, the jobs you're going to apply for when you get out.
Yeah.
And I told them all that I was going to go get involved with an America's Cup team. They all laughed and just like, come on.
Really?
Realistic.
What were they telling you were going to end up doing?
Well, most people end up going into like the defense industry or working for like small yacht designers.
Yeah.
And
designing a
real
witch pod
jobs.
for a Bavaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, real things.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. And I guess then the next step for you became Akzo Nobel, yeah?
Yeah, it had all kind of spiraled from working at Softbank. So that's where I met Simeon.
Yeah.
And after annoying him for 3 months, he finally gave in and offered me the chance to trial with the team.
I find that interesting because when you actually, I was doing my notes for this, you said to get into the Softbank team, you annoyed, I think it was Chris Draper, wasn't it? You annoyed Chris.
Oh, yeah.
And then you annoyed Simeon. You annoyed us for 3 months to get on the show.
Oh, shit, I was going to say that.
3 months? So it's more like a year.
More like 9 months.
Yeah. About time.
I don't think you do any annoying. Let's just get that out there. So tell us, because that was a unique campaign, and obviously it was you and Martine on that vessel. So 2 young lasses. I think you were the youngest female to go around the world at that stage, weren't you? In that race.
Oh yeah. It was a bit weird going around the world as a 23-year-old. But no, it was super cool. Like getting to sail with a bunch of legends, really. A lot of experience on that boat. I mean, in the race in general. So quite enjoyed being the youngest one with a lot to learn and some good guys to teach me.
So when you're going back now, when you were 10 years old and you got Ellen's book and you read it 5 times and you just had the desire to sail around the world, was it everything that you thought it was going to be? Completely different, or just the roses the whole way through?
It was a little bit of everything. There's the bloody good moments of, rounding Cape Horn and sending it and, just dolphins and stars and having a blast, learning loads. And then there's also the fact that, you're eating freeze-dried for a year of your life and you're breaking things in the middle of the Southern Ocean and having one and injuries and just really getting fed up with people.
Who was the biggest idiot on board?
The biggest idiot? There's these 2 blonde twins that were, they made a lot of noise when they were going for their watch change, and their bunk was just below mine, so they're definitely up there on the list.
So we're talking of course, of Brad and Nikolai, correct?
Yeah, the Swede and the Dane.
Yeah, and so were they on opposite watches or together?
Yeah. So originally they were on a watch together, Lake 2 from Lisbon down to Cape Town.
Yeah.
That never happened again. No, that was swiftly changed. You can't trust those 2 together, otherwise no one would get any sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. And rumour has it they had their alarms. They had to be woken up half hour early so they could just have a good half hour or hour of banter during the watch change. Is that?
Oh yeah. The half hour of banter, and Brad's got to do his hair before he gets on deck, and
keep going. Give him hard. Give him a hard. I love it. Was there anything when you were doing the race that you didn't expect? Like you were just, wow, this is not what I was hoping for.
I mean, like, there was definitely times when, shit was hitting the fan, the politics side of things that I think most people have heard about by now. Everything that started at the beginning of the race with our team was not anything I really thought could even happen at that level of professional sailing. And I thought the America's Cup was the one with all the drama, and then I moved into that. And, I wasn't even sure if we'd be leaving on the day of the start. So that was a bit of a mind-blown scenario.
Certainly was, and we all remember that. But there must have been one particular incident that comes to mind, and I'll just remind you about it, is the day when Martine wore her beard.
Oh, it was so good.
Do you want to talk us through it?
So, Brazil was just unreal with the number of fans there. And not just the number of fans, but the number that were in love with Martine. We're not just talking, wanting her autograph. There was some guy who proposed to her during the import race, out there, anchored up on a boat.
Bauer, shut it down, Bauer. Get away. Up. No, Bauer, get away. All right, sorry.
But they loved her. She is a national hero, for good reason. But a lot of them had kind of had an idea of what she looked like, but had never met her in person. So they're just going around looking for a chick with brown hair and wearing an Akzo Nobel t-shirt. So Martine had this idea of wearing this brilliant old man's beard that worked a treat. Suddenly she was able to walk through the village. No one's stopping her. But the bit she missed out was the fact that I didn't have one of these beards, and suddenly all of these fans were looking for someone that had brown hair, was female in an Akzo Nobel t-shirt. So I started having people coming up to me
getting proposals.
So how'd you go?
Not quite the proposals, but they'd try and talk to me. But the big key difference here is I don't speak Portuguese. No. So they'd get very angry at the fact I wasn't responding to them in Portuguese. And they're like, I have no idea what you want. I'm not Martine, please.
I think you have an idea of what they do want, but not what they're saying.
It's a universal language.
I mean, that boat did look like a lot of fun from the outside. I mean, the Nikolai, Brad, Nico, some really strong. You and Martine, you must have just had such a good time.
Now, just there's one question I've asked. We've had a few from Akzo on board. When you got your 24-hour record, is it true? What was it again?
603, wasn't it?
602.
602. Was it true you would have got 615 if Simeon wasn't here?
I'm not getting involved in that one.
All right. Next question. We'll be Nico.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll get it out of one of them.
No, we'll get Simeon on actually.
Yeah. The way forward. Just ask him straight up.
We need to get everyone on before Simeon. We're saving Nico. And then we'll just slowly work up. And then Simeon, you've killed it. Actually. Just before, one thing I did forget before you did the Volvo was that your first offshore run, your first proper offshore run, that, what was it, that 46-foot, what's it called, the F4 or something? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
How was
the
that
F4
thing?
was a little adventure.
Oh, the New York, Bermuda.
Yeah, with Jimmy Spiegel.
Yeah.
That was total madness.
And Shannon, yeah.
I didn't even know what I was signing up for. I'd gotten this call from Shannon being like, I've got this project, but it's being run by Red Bull, so I can't tell you anything about it. Do you want to do it? And at this point, I was like, sure. Why not?
I'll jump off a cliff wearing a wingsuit. Yeah, that's awesome.
Just I heard the word Red Bull and was like, it's got to be cool. I'll give it a go. At this point, I didn't even know we were going offshore. No idea. And then I'd been hanging around the Oracle base kind of before I was working for them, just working on some little phantom that needed some work done to it. And Rome Kirby comes up to me and just starts talking to me, which, why the hell are you talking to me? Like, starts talking about going offshore, about how he and Jimmy are going to be watch captains, and had I ever done any offshore sailing before, I'd done a tiny bit, but not a huge amount. And heard that Jimmy was coming offshore with me and was mind blown. Then we got on this untested foiling cat and went across the Atlantic in some heinous conditions.
That would have been
broke everything. And
yeah, it wasn't the best conditions, was it? But I was just going to say, you were hanging out with Oracle, Softbank, same team really. So,
yeah, pretty much.
I know where you're going. Naughty. And of course, with Jimmy, who has signed on as sewer man for the Ginga Challenge.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think,
it's gone through.
Tommy's got him down in the sewer.
Yeah. Have you heard this?
He'll do a great job there. He'll be fine.
Good work. I love it. Actually, let's go back to the Volvo. There was one thing I do want to pick on because, as you say, you didn't have that much offshore experience. So when you went across the equator, that was your first time across the equator. So you were a pollywog, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Tell us about that.
Well, so Nico didn't join the team until Lisbon, obviously. And I remember our first meeting where he joined and we sat down in this little conference room kind of talking about the plan for the leg. And the first thing Nico wanted to talk about was, so who here hasn't crossed the equator yet? First time meeting the guy, and main priority for the leg was who hasn't crossed yet. And yeah, me, Brad, and Martin, first time rookies of the team. So I was dreading it.
In the firing line.
Yeah, I knew
day one.
before we even left that it was going to be brutal, and I'm still told we had it easy. But compared to the old days.
Yeah, you did.
Well, they always say the old days, don't they? Everyone says the old days. Back in the old days, we did this, did that.
It was much
So
harder
what
back
actually
then.
happened? What did they actually do?
Yeah.
Did they collect some flying fish for about a week beforehand? All that beautiful freeze-dried food, just kept that brewing up up on the poop deck.
I would say Nikolai was in charge of the flying fish. Yeah, there's quite a few swarms of those that would just ended up stashed in the rope bags of all places. And then, made a nice little stew of freeze-dried noodles and, flying fish. So
that sounds
got
good.
a nice little coating of that, tied up to the runners at the back of the boat. Windward side. Performance still, but yeah.
Shit, I'm glad we glued that chain plate on properly. That could have been a different story.
Showered in that little mess, and then they did attempt the haircut, but luckily Blakey was filming the whole thing, and I screamed quite loudly, so got off lightly there. And instead got the flying fish just stored in my top for the rest of the day, which smelled, but at least I got to keep my hair.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It's fair enough. All the blokes lost their hair. The girls didn't though. So the ladies did.
Yeah, no, we were pretty lucky with that one.
But yeah, the smells. Bossy got castrated.
It didn't work.
Jay, have you been across?
No, mate. No.
Hey.
No. Oh shit! I shouldn't have said that.
Yes, got him.
You got to at least pretend.
No, you can't lie. You got to do your time. You got to do your time.
I actually got off, just going back pretty lightly, prior to the ABN AMRO race. The boys before I got on board, did another like a race across the equator together with a lot of newbies. Maybe there's one or two that hadn't done it. And then as we went across the equator, I hadn't gone across. But everyone has assumed everyone's gone across.
Yep.
Yeah. And you got away with it.
Went on to watch, yeah. Even probably had a shower. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Well done.
That's exactly how you play it. Nice and quiet.
First time I've ever said that.
Oh, that'll come back and bite you.
Exclusive.
Oh, that's definitely coming
Well, I
back.
can't now. Been across a few times since.
Oh, yeah. But you know what happens in that world. Lukey's onto it.
Anyway, back to it.
Dear. Anyway, all right. Okay, so when you finished the Volvo, were you still in love with the thought of going around the world and sailing oceans, or you?
It did like this weird thing to me where I kind of I needed a break, but that need only lasted like 2 days, and then I was ready for some more sailing. Ended up doing a little bit of class 40 stuff like a week after, and straight away just looking for more boats to go back out on. Like, the race kind of beats the shit out of you for a year, but then you forget about all of it straight away.
Should say,
So, which actually leads me into 3 questions from Bob. We actually need a bit of a lead-in with that, Jay.
We need some sort of
All
music.
right. So Emily,
what do you want? You
just
need a tune to go into 3 questions from Bicey.
First thing that comes to mind when I ask these questions. Volvo Ocean Race, the best part.
The best part, Cape Horn.
Hang on. The boatyard, then Cape Horn.
Oh, yeah. Good answer.
The boatyard are all right. Bunch
Good
of
answer.
Muppets, but...
All right. Same answer not required. The worst part.
The worst part. Southern Ocean the first time.
Yep.
Messed my back up. And,
Rig
darkness.
issues. Yeah.
Rig issues, like...
And
just dark.
Yeah. And finally, the next part. As in, what's up for Emily for racing around the world in the future?
That is still undecided. Well, I know I want to go again, but
yeah, that's all we need.
what I go on, still up in the air.
All right, 4 questions from Bice. And we are going to talk about it, but it's probably a good time just to mention now. We know you went across the Atlantic on the IMOCA with 11th hour. VO65 or IMOCA?
It depends what exactly you're after. If you're looking for...
Going around the world.
Wow.
You, Emily Nagel.
Me, still undecided. They've both got their pros and cons. 65's got a bit more livability.
Yeah. You won't get
but
a
the
10 on the
IMOCA's
60.
pretty sick.
Yeah. You won't get a 10 on the 60. You're indoors the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more just the sleep aspect than the tan. The tan I can live without.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 60 is not a comfortable boat.
So why don't you tell us a bit more about that, actually? And one, how it happened, how you got on board, and 2, the whole experience.
Well, how it happened was a shit ton of luck and coronavirus, basically. They have finished their refit over in France and wanted to take the boat back to the US and test their new foils along the way. But they needed someone who was already in Europe and who had a B1, B2 visa. Corona's making it pretty difficult for everyone to travel. So I think it was the Wednesday, I got a call up from Charlie asking if I had a visa and if I wanted to come across the Atlantic. And had a corona test the same day and flew over to France on the Saturday morning and started training with the guys. But yeah, it was very last minute, just needed to get it over there, wanted to see if I'd enjoy it. And yeah, it was definitely a little 2-week adventure, upwind the whole way.
Seems like
Not
there's a lot of
ideal.
these. Seems like there's a lot of these little last-minute phone calls going on here with all these little projects.
Yeah, wait a bit.
Right place, right time.
It's good. It's perfect. isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure you give everyone your number. So obviously, a 2-week adventure. You're stuck on a boat with Langford. You're stuck on a boat with Sci-Fi. Did you ever think about jumping off?
Well, I mean, I did get to escape to the top of the rig at one point, which was,
Oh, really?
a little bit of a break away from, the nattering from Langford. But, just hide at the top of a 60 rig, it's pretty uncomfortable. You get beaten up, but you don't have to listen to him for a little bit. So,
Couple of bruises are worth it, you reckon?
I'm picking up a common theme here, guys.
It's been going on for weeks, to be honest.
I mean, if we're a bit further down the line with our brewing and we had all sorts of beers out there, there's going to have to be a Langford special at some point in time.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just something that everyone absolutely hates.
Langford Light.
So you're doing your Alex Thompson impersonation in the middle of the Atlantic, walking the mast.
I wouldn't say it was much walking. I definitely don't have the skill of going up the mast. It was very much a giant koala at the top of the mast, just trying not to fall off.
So, when you jumped on the IMOCA in the middle of the ocean, because you probably hadn't sailed one before, had you?
No, this was first time on an IMOCA, which was kind of the whole reason I said yes so quickly.
When it started to wind up, did you just go oh yeah, or was it oh Jesus?
Well, the speed was sick. I'm used to the moth, so the foiling aspect is awesome. But what got me was the fact you're undercover, and the motion's a bit different. And that didn't go so well for me for the first few days.
Yeah,
I ended up being.
How do you from a seasickness point of view? I'd imagine it's a way different feeling.
I was sick for the first time. 65, no issues. Lap round, no issues. Literally day one, puking my guts up out the back.
Wow.
Langford there driving, just looking at me like, what have we brought along?
So what do you feel the difference was? What's the motion difference?
It's rather than slamming forwards into the waves, you're heaving up and down. So the way you impact is just not what you're kind of conditioned to expect.
Yeah.
And then the fact you can't see anything. You're undercover, you can't see
no horizon,
the front of the boat, no horizon, you can't see the waves that are coming, which is really weird driving. You've got no viz on anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? And from what we've discussed on the show a few times is that the actual upwind is the most comfortable version of the IMOCA. Sailing at upwind is more comfortable than the reaching.
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you because we had 2 weeks of just upwind.
Unbelievable.
Upwind.
That was actually a question. Did you have one new foil or two new foils for that trip?
Only one new foil.
Did you get to use it in anger? In the sense of use the foil
properly
to get the boat fully cranking, or the fact you were going upwind. Yeah, it was just like.
Oh no, we could still send it. There was we had the starboard foil in, so whenever we were on port, we could send it properly, and then we'd tack over so we could sleep.
Yeah, right. So, and
because that foil's interesting.
We're going to talk to you about some performance stuff, but just give us a quick percentage gain between the new and the old foil, if you could. I know you've analysed it.
Yeah. Just get the numbers up if you wouldn't mind.
Well, technically we didn't have an old foil in, so couldn't quite give you the direct comparison. But there was times we were going upwind doing 18 knots and bouncing off of waves.
Yeah, 60 true wind. No,
that's what I'm wondering. I'm actually thinking exactly that, Bryce, because of that shape of that board. I was wondering if they were sailing slightly higher angles because of what they did with that board. That's all.
It just depended a lot on just how you were steering.
So Langford, you're
just
sailing
chasing
180.
the foil. Oh yeah, like wrong direction, pointing back at Europe, just wanting to foil.
Just having fun.
It's how those 50 sailors act. They just want to go fast.
Doesn't matter if it takes 4 weeks. Via Brazil.
Oh dear, you got to laugh, eh?
Foiled the whole way.
Did you talk to him much about moth stuff? How he's always getting beaten.
I mean, I was trying to convince him. We've got the British Nationals next week, and tried to convince him to come over because it was originally meant to be the Worlds, and he's only over in Sweden. But
apparently he's just bought a house in Sweden, and he's got to polish the chandeliers next week. So
exactly, priorities. He's getting to that age where I think he's just worried about getting beaten by the Brits.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So back to the question 465 or IMOCA. I could see your excitement talking about the IMOCA. So, and to actually, I'm going to wager something here. If you actually got to sail it in proper downwind, full noise conditions, it'll be an obvious choice.
Yeah, I mean, if I get the opportunity to go on a 60, it would be sick.
Yeah.
But you'll still happily go on a 65 again.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the one design racing that we had last time of just the whole way around being so close. The 60 is an incredible, the kind of ship science part of me got pretty excited with all the design and, the fact that it's open, what you can do with the boat is just limitless. The whole innovation part is awesome.
Actually, on that... sorry, keep going. Sorry.
But how many boats are going to be on the starting line? And be nice if there was more than one team kind of ready to go.
Well,
yeah, that's the white elephant we need to address at some point.
Yeah, we need a couple more boats.
We'll leave it alone for us. We're a bit close. We can't say anything without getting in trouble. So if anybody else wants to come on the show and say whatever they want, we're fine. Some of us can't say anything. So I guess the one thing, you've had with your naval architecture background and all the cool circles you're hanging around in, you would have met some of the really cool yacht designers of the world, I guess, as part of your experiences. Have you hung out with anyone cool or done any discussions with them?
Oh, I wouldn't say I've hung out with all of them. A lot of my work was with Nick Holroyd, so that was pretty cool through Softbank. A very, very focused guy, so that was pretty incredible because he was working with Volvo kind of leading up to the last race as well with some early design stuff before the whole Super 60 and so kind of picking his brain was pretty interesting a lot of the time.
Geez, yeah, no, that's a great answer. And obviously being part of the whole Super 60 thing and seeing the dynamic between himself and Guillaume Verdier and the rest of that team that we had assembled was phenomenal. And just sometimes you were like you were saying before, Emily, when you're surrounded just by these superheroes, it's like, how the hell did this happen?
Cool. Yeah, we got a lot of time.
Pretty cool.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
And he would have been very generous too.
He was a great guy to work with and still just constantly taking the piss out of me as well.
Well, he is a Kiwi, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was good training for the ocean race.
That's it. All right, what about Sail GP? Let's get on to you. We're actually doing a bit of ship science.
Yeah, you're not the first to make that joke.
Yeah, I'm not original. I've never claimed to be original. I don't know why people give me grief about it. No, with the Sail GP doing the data analyst stuff, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it gets me basically the computer node. I'd rather be on the water, but it's still pretty damn cool to sit there and be involved with the teams. They're all like the British team. We're really small, so I'm working directly with the sailors and the coach, and sitting down in debriefs and going through kind of how they sailed that day and what the numbers are showing, and trying to make them go faster, which was one thing when it was kind of Dylan and Stu sailing the boat. And now that Ainsley's on board, it's a little bit more intimidating.
Yeah. Far out. Have you ever punched him?
So can you basically say, Ben, if you sailed a little higher on port tack up the second work, you would have won the race? And if you twisted the elevator with 2 more degrees, that would have won it for you. What are you doing?
You should have known that.
Is
whether
that
I can say that,
too?
It's a lot of.
Or you blame it on the computer?
Well, it depends who you're talking to and what it then gets blamed on. But we're looking at a lot of things like the ride height and kind of how much rudders you're using and the differential, and you kind of come out with the numbers, you show them, and you're just like, yeah, this isn't ideal, and then they blame it on something else, and there's always a reason instead why it's not. That's not the cause; it's something else.
But as far as performance is concerned, and you give them the data, they can, of course, do what they want with the data, and they can discuss with the coaches and stuff. But you literally know in your head how to make one of those boats go as fast as absolutely possible from what you've seen.
I'm getting there. But I've still got a shit ton to learn.
Oh, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. Tell the world you're the best now. You know it at all. Your price just went up.
No, it's been pretty cool. Like over the past year, we've just kind of been developing kind of, what the playbook is, and, what the ideal settings are for, how much lift you need on the board to be able to take off, and what speed, and what do the wing settings need to be, and when do you do this, when do you do that. So yeah, it's been a definite learning curve, and things that, we thought were important to begin with aren't necessarily that, decisive. But yeah, a lot of spying on the other teams, a lot of looking at, the Aussies and the Japanese and seeing how they're doing things, and then not copying, but developing.
That's actually what I was going to say. Are there things that are just completely obvious, and things that, you can gauge either way, or it's still a bit of a dark science?
There's a lot of there's a lot of the dark ship science of just you think it could be a big factor, and you spend ages looking into it, and you go down a rabbit hole, and it's not important at all. The design team behind the boats is massive. Like, you've got, control systems engineers and hydraulics engineers and electronics, and just all of these different factors that kind of everyone's worked on separately, and then they're kind of being brought together. And, there's 3 different modes for dropping one of the boards. Mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, and each mode is a different speed, or like uses the pump versus, kind of the accumulator. And at the beginning, we're like, each mode will be for like different scenario, or this wind condition, that wind condition. We want this mode then, this mode now. And then it got to a point where everyone was using the same modes for everything.
Just drop it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just get the board down.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh dear. That's cool. We're running out of time, guys. We're chewed through this. This is flowing this time. We've probably got another few minutes. We want to keep going down this SailGP path. Are we allowed to get in more in detail?
One of the key questions I had on my list for you, Emily, is you've done a lot of work from the analysis side, which we're obviously just talking about now, and you've worked along the sides of the guys from K&D. How in depth, just for the average listener out there, how in depth does the analysis go, and what do you actually provide at the end of the day after a boat does go sailing for those people that really are at that end of the sport?
And make sure your answer's really good, because I'm thinking about hiring you.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for you to, get me involved in the boat here, but
Don't worry. But anyway, go on. Make sure the answer's good.
yeah. Okay. Well, basically, with the 50, there's a lot of numbers coming off of it. There's 1,800 data channels, so you could spend months just looking at one day's worth of data. But it's like we get live data off, full little strip charts of everything, the speed, the angles, when buttons are getting pressed, what the wing's doing. So kind of go through, and as they're sailing, I'll be sitting there kind of little matrix style, getting all the numbers off the boat, picking out tacks and jibes that are worth looking at, getting different lineups with other teams, and just trying to quickly compare the settings that everyone's using. And a lot of what I do will be kind of feeding back to the coach on the water, like the different settings, like, the Aussies are doing this right now, why are we doing that? And just try and kind of point things out as we go. And then when the boat comes in, we kind of download all the data, and I'll put it into the K&D software, which is kind of what I've been using at the moment, but other teams use different software. And then from that, I'll talk to the coach about what was important that day, like were they focusing on maneuvers or lineups, what teams look good out there, who do you want to compare against, and just do like a little report, anywhere from a couple pages to 30 pages of just comparisons, different maneuvers, different lineups, what settings everyone was on, and kind of how we think kind of the polars of the boat should develop, and what was good and what was bad, and why didn't they win every race, and from Sydney why they did win every race.
It is an absolutely incredible science. It is a science. I'll never forget when I walked in to have a chat to Cyril one day. He was sitting in a container. I don't know what boat he was working on at the time, but walked past his computer, and I was watching what he was looking at. And he goes, "Look, see that? There it is. There's the difference." And I looked at the computer. It was a bunch of numbers going nuts, and he just picked it up, and I've just gone, "What number?" And he said, "There's a 6 there." And I would go, "What?" Or whatever. I can't even remember what it was, but it was like just a number bounced out and got him. And I'm going, nah, not me. Move on.
It's the Matrix, BP.
So, serious question, Emily. Now we're getting to the end of the show. You're versing Sail GP, the Oz team. Cole Langford is the wing trimmer, and he does something phenomenal, and you can see it on your screen. Do you just write that off as an anomaly? Or?
Well, this is the tricky bit. Like, either way, it's a lose-lose. Either I admit he's pretty good at his job, or,
Well, he doesn't even admit that. He's like, I don't know how I do this. No.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff we've learned from them, and learned from Japanese guys as well, and kind of helps that we've got Goobs and Parko now as well, who came over from the Japanese team, so we've got a little bit of their inside knowledge there as well, which is always useful.
Two well-known Japanese sailors, Goobs and Parko.
Yeah.
That's good. That's one of your best.
It's right up there. You've been actually pretty good tonight, Jay.
I had a stressful week, and I'm just letting go. That's all.
You've spun out a couple of crackers.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of spitting out a cracker, your mum and dad, when it came to you, like they
spun
Your mum and dad must just be flush full of pride. Do they just talk you up to your siblings? Like, are they? I mean, are they just?
If you could all be like Emily.
Yeah, you guys.
If only.
You guys are just such underachievers. Is that the sort of stuff that goes on from your folks?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of Facebook action and posts getting shared, but I can't really comment too much here because, my sister's definitely like the actual rock star. Like she's a doctor. Like she's been dealing with the whole corona and now works, cutting pregnant women open to rescue babies, and she's a surgeon or working towards being a surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, she's really kind of the one who should. I just sail boats. she saves lives. It's very awkward, but she puts up with it.
After the show, we'll get the producer onto you to send her address, and we'll send the merchandise package through
to her. Is that your sister? Is that Megan, the one? She's the doctor?
Yeah, that's Megan. She's the rock star.
Megan, that's how you say it. Yeah.
She likes to remind us every now and again. Just hit her with this. 3 babies today.
Just hit her with this.
Shut up, Meg.
So good. Well done, Jordan.
Yeah, she'll love that one.
We'll send that to you. You can have it on your phone.
Well, I'm pretty sure, Emily, when the bars actually open up and you're not telling your housemates the same stories time after time, and you can speak to other people will be liking your story 100%.
Nicely said, boss.
And I've got to say, it is a fantastic story, and you're a fantastic woman, and we're very happy to know you, and we're very glad you're a fan of bar karate, and it's so good to get you on. It's really good.
Cheers for having me. It's not really going to be able to listen to it on my weekly bike ride, so
good
to chat to you guys.
Well, it's been fun. We really appreciate you coming on.
Well, the best thing is, Emily, we've actually done the little interim episode this week and spoken about the beer again. You would have heard it, but just listen to that one again.
Perfect.
No worries. All right, let's call it quits. BP, you got anything else you want to add?
No, stoked. Thanks a lot, Em.
Stoked. Yeah, we're all close to you, so we're all happy to see you succeed. So we'll chat to you, and we're certain this will be one of our top episodes.
Cheers, guys.
Well, that old analogy springs to mind with Emily. It's the picture of determination in the dictionary, and there's a photo of her. Would you say?
I was watching Boris's face then. That was quite funny. Yeah.
I'm not sure where that was going, but no, you're right, mate.
You're 100% right.
No, cool. What a one, an inspiration, but still a very young lady who has everything in front of her.
Look, I remember the start of October last year, you actually told me, said, Emily's in Sydney, get her sailing. She came out and sailed on the X with me. And, she ended up sailing nearly every time we went out. She loved it. And, mate, she was really handy on the boat, I've got to say. It was like, you could see, it's like everything, and you could see that she was on a different level.
Just natural. Yep.
Cool. But also just so just soaking it all up. You could tell what she would have been like at those other teams. She would have been just a sponge the whole time.
Always positive.
I just thinking back about what we spoke and about Kyle Langford, and I just want to say one thing. Kyle, I meant every single word.
Poor Kyle. It's like he's a feature of the show now. It's like an ongoing story.
Oh, we'll have to create a meme.
Yeah.
Bar karate meme with Kyle.
Yeah. I love it. All right.
What a great position to be in. Well,
Yeah. Well, he'll be the world's most well-known pro now. All right, let's move on. I think we've got some secret pro news, gentlemen.
There is, gents. I got plenty coming in this week. All to do with Australia. So for the international listeners, it's probably not going to mean that much. But the Hooligan TP52, Marcus Blackmore boat,
beautiful boat,
lovely boat, 2015 or 16. So TP sold to a long-time campaigner out of Sydney. So it's not leaving Australian shores. Which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
And another thing, the Kokomo MC38 has been sold and linked apparently to the Infotrack owner. We're not sure of the exact details, but that's all the information we got. But
how do we decide what boats we talk about being sold? Like, are we going to tell when Ted Mosby's mirror gets sold, or is that Do we go to that detail? Or?
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. Especially if a rainbow gets on.
Yeah, if a rainbow gets on.
The secret pro news.
Secret pro won't be, there won't be much action for much time. But going speaking of secret pro, many months ago, and from one of our, and by the way, the secret pro for all the listeners is not just one individual. There's many out there. And by the way, if you have any inside information, please send it to cheers@parkarati.com.
And want to be a secret pro.
That's right. We will never mention your name.
Word had it many episodes ago. There's going to be a Club Swan 80 coming out, and believe it or not, it's happened. He's called it again. He has called it again, the secret pro.
She's dead sexy.
Gents, I got to say, bloody cool. I love it. Seriously love it. What do you think?
Oh, it's one of those situations. There's just going to be these boats that pop up every now and again that just turn heads, and it's an endless budget thing type of thing. I mean, you went through it obviously with Speedboat back in the day. It turned heads, and this is another example of something that's just going to turn heads. The Wally Centos and all those boats. But I think this is one of those ones that'll stick out for a while.
Mate, an 80-footer, and it's going to be performance.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Obviously. Building at Persico.
Yeah, I know.
From our mates. Yeah. So I'm excited about this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, we're all excited. It is very, very sexy. A 1K design, as you'd expect. There's a lot of similarities between the 36.
My theory, he drew the 80 before the 36. The 36 was the teaser, and the 80 is the vinegar stroke. Could I say that? Wait till we see the 120. Not sure what we'll call that.
We'll say, and the 80 was just the testing ground.
Oh dear, we're going to get in trouble one day.
Apologies.
Apologies. She's.
I doubt the algorithms look up vinegar stroke.
Dear. So if anyone builds one, because I don't even know if the tooling's built at this stage, but I think our mates will be madly putting that together. But if anyone does build one and wants us to test it, then we're happy to be part of that program. Anyone object to that?
Yeah.
Yep.
No objection.
Good. No objection. Other news, Youth America's Cup. We were just chatting about it a couple of weeks ago. She is gone. Youth America's Cup, gone.
It's disappointing. And I know the
blown
kids...
away with this. It's,
you didn't know?
No, I didn't. I didn't know, and I do not know how I missed this news prior to recording this. But
probably because it's on the very bottom of the run sheet. Right down
and you've been busy, mate.
And you've been busy.
Yeah.
I rely on Facebook for all my news, guys.
And Jay's run sheet.
So the reasoning is it's around the COVID and trying to get all the teams and everything in. But when you think about it, though, they've got the boats built. All the teams have put in their initial deposit, which I think was 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
Are all the boats built? Is that confirmed?
Well, there's a few of the boats. I'm not sure if all of them are. I'm going to talk myself in trouble here. I'm pretty certain I know of a couple.
They would, but it's a big thing, though, isn't it? All the effort that's gone into it, and I guess I think it comes back to what we said earlier. We said earlier about it that everyone had to keep rolling along as if it was happening. And
so my question is it a COVID excuse in the sense that people can't get there, or it's a boat building financial thing?
Okay, well, to add to the story, old mate at Anarchy, Sailing Anarchy, has just had a major dummy spit about it, saying it had nothing to do with the COVID. It's all about the fact that none of the teams have been able to find money to pay.
No, my question was more about the actual getting the boats built, not the actual teams. Teams will get there. That's not an issue.
Yeah, well, Australia, I mean, they were working on it. I mean,
they're all working on it. That's right. It's devastating because you think of all the people that have come out of the Youth America's Cup. It's the biggest door opener there is. It's absolutely
It is
the biggest door opener since they started doing the Youth America's Cup. The first one produced some pretty crappy guys.
Well, talk about disappointing. Disappointing is the obviously we mentioned it a bit earlier, but the cancellation of the Barkarati Barge. Also, that probably tops out.
It's not official.
It's not official yet.
Isn't it?
Not just yet.
If we can get a bubble across or do something, but I can't see the Barkarati Barge. It may be the Barkarati Tinny BP.
It doesn't matter. I've got one.
Oh, well,
You'll be able to fit it in his hand luggage. So
yeah, I was
all
just
good.
your tinny is the shape they call a punt.
punt.
Yep.
Correct.
Barkarati punt.
Yeah. So we'll all be out. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Almost replicates a bunch.
Don't miss your opportunity to go out on the Barkarati punt with three. No.
Yeah. Maybe two others.
That's it. All right, speaking of America's Cup, we're recording this, Thursday night, Australia time. So US boat number 2, American Magic number 2, has literally just landed in New Zealand a few hours ago. No truth to the rumour that somebody put return to sender sticker on it. Not here anymore, not living here anymore.
Address unknown.
She looks different, boys. Have you seen the photo? Have you seen it come out of the plane?
Well, you did make a comment.
Oh, well,
I think it's a fake.
It's a fake.
They're selling a dummy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an expensive play. Or you reckon...
especially with the Antonov.
Yeah.
Just put it.
No, you're right. If you put it like that,
Put a
that's fair
practical
enough.
joke in an Antonov.
Yeah, well, I sent you a photo, I think. Did I send you guys a photo?
You did, and you did make a comment. You said something along the lines, it looks like another boat or
Looks more like...
some other boat.
Well, it looks more like the New Zealand boat than it does the pathway. You remember there were sort of two general themes by the looks of it when we were, the Brits and the American Magic team were in one pathway, and the Kiwis and the Italians were in another. Just looking at the photo again, you could almost argue slightly that it's
gone away from the scow type of idea.
Yeah, it's gone back towards the more New Zealand.
I think you're looking at it from the wrong way, gents.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it from what you're looking at, the transom is, it's definitely a scow.
She's a pintail.
No stern.
It's going the other way. Oh, I never thought of that. How silly am I?
She might be a little damp though, by the looks.
Yeah.
But let's say it does go the opposite way, where I thought then they're sort of effectively it's they can trial off and see which one's better, and they've got a foot in both camps. So it's probably tactically or strategically quite wise move. We might see the Kiwis come out with a boat like American Magic 1. You know what I mean?
Imagine that.
Yeah.
They'd be oh, they're doing so good. They're doing that's the way forward. And then the Americans rock up with a boat like the Kiwis. Oh.
That's it. All right. Well, anyway, that was a bit of excitement in the America's Cup world. It's getting closer. It sort of feels a bit weird. And then we plugged it last week. We've just had the finish of Stage 1 of the Solitaire de Figaro. Did you guys catch that bit of news?
Saw it, yes.
Basically out and back around Fastnet Rock.
I must admit, I thought we would have seen a lot more from our normal news programs, being the socials. But I saw bugger all.
I don't think they're actually doing any media or anything. Like when I was watching the webpage, the only way I can get results or any information is just by looking at the tracker. That's it. I've got nothing from anywhere.
So have you got some results? Can we be the first to get it out there?
Yeah. So
run through
it. Xavier Macher of Group SNEF was the winner.
Keep going.
3 days, 17 hours, 17 minutes, 55 seconds. Right, so remember that time. Second place, Louis Breher Louis Berha on. Shut up. 3 days, 17 hours, 19 minutes,
19
30
minutes.
seconds.
Yeah, so 1 minute 35. That's good.
That is very good. And then Alexis Lewison in third, 3 days, 17 hours, 24 minutes, 58 seconds. And then Armel Leclerc, he was in fourth, 3:17, 28, 15. So, and then 17,
Close racing,
30,
isn't it?
30.
Yeah, it is close. It is close.
So
I'll
good.
just read the minutes from here. So 28, 30, 31, 33. It's ridiculous, hey? 37.
36, 37, 37, 38, 40.
Yeah.
And that's taken us off 41, 41, 43.
Where did our old
Bloody
mate
hell.
Sam come in?
Sam came in 11th, mate.
Yeah, so he's done okay. He's done.
He was
okay.
only a few minutes off the lead, basically. First female was in 23rd, and the
There you
person
go.
with my favourite name of all times, of Violet d'Orange, the purple orange.
So good.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Great name.
Violet
name.
Orange,
Violet
but it's
d'Orange.
more.
And
Violet
only
d'Orange.
40 minutes behind the winner.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Fantastic.
And then I will give a special shout out to Alan Roberts. He was 28th. Spent a bit of time talking to Alan about the whole thing. He's got a plan, trying to get ahead.
Is that pronounced right?
Yeah, got that one right.
Alan with the real hard last name, Robert.
Alan Robert.
Well, all his mates have got long and complicated names.
Yeah. So next stage, his missus is TV production. So I hung out with his missus quite a bit at the World Sailing Games, and then we met Alan and I hung out a bit at Mets. That's all. Just chatting away. Next leg 2 goes. When do they start? Leg 2 is starting on the 12th. What are we? The 3rd now. We've published probably the 6th. So just as we go next, so that'll be Baie du Saint-Brieuc to Dunkirk via Wolf Rock. So shut up, you
You
mongrels.
sure you got the pronunciation?
I don't care anymore. It's part of the ongoing joke. It's really actually quite hard for me to get the pronunciation right because I'm a professional and I have to practice getting it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Perfectionism.
You're doing a wonderful job that just makes me laugh, and I like laughing.
It's part of the joke. We should do Barcarati shirts in French just to really add to the whole thing. All right.
Okay. No, you're doing a lot better than I am anyway.
Well, we'll do the Spanish. You can do all the Spanish ones, mate. It's easy for you.
Yeah, it is actually.
Anything else?
I'll do all the bogan ones.
Like Jono, Davo.
Anything else we got to run through, team?
No.
I think that's pretty much wrapped it up for the week, gents.
It's been a good one.
Yep, certainly has.
And I will say that we have some pretty special plans for the next few as well. So it's good. We're on fire. Thanks for everyone for listening. It's been really cool. We're having a ton of fun. I hope you guys are. Again, you can listen to us. You can find us on our Facebook site or at the web page, which is barcarati.com. And you send us messages at cheers@barcarati.com. And we get heaps of messages through the Facebook page, and we love it. We love it. We're having a ball.
And please don't forget the Barcarati Sailors Lager Ambassador Scheme. If you missed it, go back to our beer show and you'll catch it at the end of the episode. So get on board. Love your work.
Yep. Righto.
Actually, there is one more thing to say. We haven't started marketing the beer properly. Like today was day one when we actually mentioned it to a few people, and we have sold. I think we've sold already a third of what we've got made in day one. So if you are keen and you're listening to this, jump onto us at cheers@Barcarati and we can see we can make it out. If you're not from Australia though, probably just go into hold mode. We can't legally sell it to you at the moment. So just hold on that. Or just come to Australia and we'll have a beer with you. That's a good solution.
No, literally, if there are any Barkarati fans that fly to Australia, do the 2-week quarantine, we will deliver beer to their hotel.
There you go.
Free of charge.
Yep, there we go.
Free of charge.
That's a great idea, Bicey. So that is when we'll stand to that.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll lose money again.
Yeah.
All right. It's an absolute pleasure, boys. Ton of fun.
See you later.
See you guys.
Hey, you should actually publish this because people want it.
Yeah, one day. Might do it with a podcast or something.
That's it.